When you reach your 50s, something magical happens. You know yourself in a way you never did before. You've walked through enough seasons of life to understand what truly matters, and you carry a quiet confidence that only comes with experience. But here's the thing. While you've grown and evolved, your hair might still be telling an old story. Maybe it's a story from 20 years ago, back when you had different dreams, a different lifestyle, even a different face looking back at you in the mirror. And without even realizing it, that story could be holding you back from showing the world the vibrant, captivating woman you are today. Changing your hairstyle is not about chasing youth or trying to look like you did at 30. It's about celebrating the beauty you have right now, honoring the wisdom in your eyes, and reflecting the spark that's still very much alive in you. The right style doesn't just frame your face, it frames your confidence. In this video, we're going to talk about 7 common hair mistakes many women over 50 in America still make, and I'll share the modern, flattering alternatives that can bring out the best in you. These are changes you can make without losing your identity, yet they have the power to completely refresh your look. And I have to tell you, one of these tips is so subtle that most people won't even notice you've made a change. But they will suddenly start telling you how radiant and different you look. Stick around until the end because it might just be the simplest beauty shift you've ever made. And it could transform not just your hair, but how you feel every single day. Mistake number 1, going too dark with your hair color. I have to be honest with you. For more than 15 years, I was completely loyal to jet black hair. I truly believed that keeping my hair as dark as possible would make me look younger, like a clever little curtain hiding every wrinkle and every sign of time. But one day, I saw a photo of myself with my old college friends. Most of them had chosen lighter hair shades, and their faces looked radiant, almost glowing as the light reflected off their skin. My face, on the other hand, looked harsher and more tired, as if the light had decided to skip right over me. Hairstylists across the US have been saying this for years. Very dark shades, like pure black or deep brown, can actually make fine lines and under-eye shadows stand out more. According to a survey by the Professional Beauty Association, 68% of women over 50 feel that lighter hair shades make them look fresher and more energetic. I can tell you from experience, that statistic is absolutely true. Think about it. When you wear a light-colored blouse, doesn't your face look brighter? Hair color works the same way. Your hair frames your face, and if that frame is too dark and heavy, it can pull all the light away from your features. For years, my hair was so dark that it lost its natural shine. Every time I looked in the mirror, it was as if a gray shadow had settled over my reflection. One day, I decided it was time for a change. I went for a warm caramel base with honey highlights using the balayage technique. The transformation was immediate. Friends noticed, neighbors noticed. Even the cashier at my local grocery store asked if I had just come back from a vacation in Florida because I looked like I had been kissed by the sun. If you've been wondering whether a new hair color could make a difference for you, picture this: your face, softly illuminated, your eyes sparkling, and your smile looking more vibrant than it has in years. Sometimes it only takes one small change to make your entire appearance feel new again. And you might just be surprised at how much lighter you feel when the mirror smiles back at you. Mistake number 2, long, lifeless hair. I used to believe that keeping my hair long was the ultimate sign of femininity. For over 2 decades, my hair fell well past my shoulders, straight and untouched by layers. I thought that as long as it was long, it was beautiful. But looking back at old photos, I realized it wasn't the length that was making me feel confident. It was just habit. Over time, my hair became thinner, less full, and it started to pull my face downward. Instead of framing my features, it was dragging them down and making my jawline look softer in a way I didn't like. Stylists in the US often point out that hair without movement or shape can actually make you look older. According to a 2023 survey by the American Salon Professionals Association, 72% of women over 50 who switched to a shorter, layered cut felt they looked more youthful and reported receiving more compliments. I can personally vouch for that. I remember a woman in my neighborhood, Carol, who was 61 and had kept her hair the same way for 25 years. It was long, thin, and flat, hanging well below her shoulders. One day, she walked into our coffee group with a fresh, shoulder-length lob, softly layered and styled with gentle waves. I swear, every head turned. Her face looked brighter, her eyes sparkled, and she looked like she had knocked 10 years off her age, overnight. I went through a similar transformation myself. I traded my tired, heavy long hair for a cut that grazed my collarbone. The stylist added soft layers and a few loose waves, and I was shocked at how much lighter I felt, both physically and emotionally. The cut gave my hair body and movement, and it drew attention back up to my face instead of down to the ends. So let me ask you, when was the last time you looked at your hair and thought about what it's really doing for your face? Is it lifting you up? Or is it quietly weighing you down? Sometimes we hold on to a style because it feels safe, not because it still works for us. And once you open yourself up to change, you might be surprised by just how many ways you can refresh your entire look with just a few thoughtful adjustments. Something even simpler than a cut might make an even bigger difference, as you'll see in the next part. Mistake number 3, over-thinned ends. For years, I thought that thinning out the ends of my hair was the perfect way to make it lighter and easier to manage. I remember asking my stylist to take out some bulk so my hair would feel less heavy. At first, it felt freeing, but over time, I noticed something I didn't expect. My hair started looking limp and stringy, especially at the bottom. No matter how much I styled it, the shape just wouldn't hold. When the ends of your hair are cut too thin or too pointed, the overall look loses fullness. This is especially true for women over 50, when hair naturally becomes finer. According to a report by Modern Salon magazine, nearly 65% of women in their 50s and 60s say they struggle with maintaining volume in their hair. And overly thinned ends make that challenge even harder. I once had a client, Denise, who was 55 and living in California. She told me she always asked for heavily thinned ends because it made her head feel lighter. But one day, she decided to try something different. Instead of cutting the ends super thin, we kept more weight at the bottom and added long, soft layers throughout the hair. The change was remarkable. Her hair suddenly looked healthier, fuller, and when we curled it, the style actually lasted all day. I've had my own version of that story, too. There was a time when I could not understand why my curls fell flat by lunchtime. I was using all the right products, but the problem wasn't my styling routine at all. It was the fact that my ends were so thin they simply couldn't support the shape. Once I started keeping the ends thicker and layering the hair more strategically, I noticed an instant difference. My hair felt stronger, it looked bouncier, and I didn't have to fight it every morning. So, here is my question for you. When you look at your ends in the mirror, do they look strong and healthy, or do they taper down into little wisps? If they do, it might be time to rethink how much weight you are cutting away. And here is the beautiful part. Once you start making small adjustments like this, you open the door to even more subtle changes that can transform your look in ways you might not expect. The next idea might surprise you even more. Mistake number 4, heavy, blunt bangs. For a long time, I believed bangs could instantly make me look younger. I thought, if I cover my forehead, no one will notice the fine lines. So I asked for thick, blunt bangs that completely hid my brow. At first, it felt playful. almost like a new identity. But as I looked at myself in different photos, I began to notice something. Those heavy bangs were cutting my face in half, making my eyes appear smaller and taking away the softness I once had. Hair experts in the US often warn that blunt, straight-across bangs can be tricky for mature women. They create a harsh horizontal line that interrupts the natural flow of your features. A 2022 survey from Modern Salon found that 59% of women over 50 who switched from blunt bangs to a softer style reported feeling that their face looked more open and their eyes more expressive. I can tell you that was certainly true for me. I'll never forget one of my clients in New York, a lovely woman named Marissa. She came in with thick, heavy bangs she had been wearing for years. She told me she thought they were her safety blanket. But after a little convincing, she agreed to try curtain bangs that gently parted in the middle and framed her face. When we finished, she looked in the mirror and gasped. Her eyes seemed brighter, her cheekbones more defined, and her whole expression felt softer yet more confident. The transformation was subtle, but it completely changed how she carried herself. I had a similar moment myself. When I finally traded my blunt bangs for a lighter, side-swept style, it was like I had given my face room to breathe again. Friends told me I looked refreshed without knowing exactly what had changed. That is the beauty of choosing a style that works with your features instead of against them. So let me ask you, are your bangs helping to highlight your eyes and your smile? Or are they hiding your best features? Sometimes the smallest shift in how your hair frames your face can have the biggest impact. And once you see how much difference a simple detail can make, you might start to wonder what other small tweaks could bring out the very best version of you. Mistake number 5, sticking to your high school hair. I still remember the hairstyle I wore in my 20s. It was sleek, simple, and for a while, it made me feel unstoppable. Like many women, I held on to that look for decades, thinking it was my signature. But there comes a point when the style that once felt fresh starts working against you. Instead of telling the world you're vibrant and evolving, it sends the message that you're stuck in a time capsule. I once had a client in Florida, a 57-year-old named Linda, who had worn the same classic bob for over 30 years. She admitted it felt safe, almost like a comfort blanket. But when we updated her look to an asymmetrical layered bob with soft waves, the transformation was striking. Her friends began calling her a fashion blogger, and she said it was the first time in years she felt truly modern and confident. I can relate to Linda's experience. For years, I kept a cut I first fell in love with at 28. I told myself, if it worked then, it still works now. The problem was that my face had changed, my hair texture had shifted, and the style no longer flattered me the way it once did. According to a 2022 study in American Beauty Trends, 63% of women over 50 who updated their hairstyle after more than a decade reported feeling significantly more confident and said they received more compliments from friends and strangers alike. Hair is one of the easiest ways to refresh your image without changing who you are. You can keep the essence of what you loved in your old style, but elevate it with modern techniques like layering, adding waves, or playing with asymmetry. These changes can bring back movement, dimension, and personality to your hair. So let me ask you, when was the last time you made a real change to your hairstyle? Has it been 5 years, 10 years, or even longer? If your hair is still telling the story of your 20s, maybe it's time to let it speak for the confident, sophisticated woman you are today. Once you see what a small but thoughtful update can do, you'll realize that the right haircut doesn't just change how others see you, it changes how you see yourself. And that kind of transformation can open the door to even more exciting possibilities. Mistake number 6, overstyled stiff hair. There was a time when I thought the more hairspray I used, the better my hair would look. I wanted every strand in place, every curl perfectly formed. I would tease, curl, spray, and then spray some more. The result was hair that never moved, almost like it was frozen in time. I felt polished, but when I looked back at old pictures, I realized it wasn't elegance I was seeing. It was stiffness. My hair didn't flow, it didn't breathe, and it certainly didn't feel like me. Overstyling can make your look feel dated, no matter how perfect the shape is. Hair experts in the US often remind us that movement and softness are what bring a hairstyle to life, especially for women over 50. In fact, a recent survey by Beauty Launchpad found that 71% of women in this age group felt more confident when their hair looked touchable and natural, rather than stiff and overworked. That statistic resonates with me because I've lived both sides of that experience. I remember a lovely client named Joyce, who was 64. She came into the salon with hair that had been curled and sprayed into the same shape every day for years. She admitted she was afraid that if she let it move, it would look messy. We convinced her to try a soft blowout with just a touch of light hold spray. When she saw herself in the mirror, she couldn't stop running her fingers through her hair. She said, "I feel like myself again, but fresher." And it was true. Her whole expression changed. She looked approachable, vibrant, and years younger. I had that same turning point when I traded my helmet-like curls for loose, airier waves. Suddenly, my hair wasn't fighting me anymore. It moved when I moved, caught the light, and felt alive again. That small change shifted not just my style, but my mood. So I have to ask, is your hair moving with you? Or is it holding you back in more ways than one? Sometimes, letting go of old styling habits is the first step toward a lighter, more modern look. And once you start feeling the freedom of hair that flows naturally, you might find yourself curious about other subtle tweaks that could give your whole appearance the same sense of life and ease. Mistake number 7, neglecting shine and hair health. I have learned the hard way that a good haircut can only take you so far. You can have the most flattering shape, the perfect length, and a beautiful color. But if your hair is dull, dry, and brittle, it will never have the same impact. There was a period in my late 50s when I was so focused on keeping my style updated that I completely ignored the health of my hair. Over time, the shine faded, my strands felt rough, and styling became a daily battle. When hair loses its luster, it loses its voice. A 2022 report from Hair Care Insights revealed that 74% of women over 50 feel that shiny hair makes them look younger and more vibrant, even without a fresh cut. That number speaks volumes. Healthy shine catches the light, frames your face beautifully, and gives the impression of vitality. Without it, even the most skillful cut can fall flat. I remember a client in Chicago, Marlene, who was 59. She had recently gotten a gorgeous layered bob, but she told me it didn't feel finished somehow. Her hair was dry and looked tired. I suggested a routine of weekly deep oil treatments, using argan oil for extra nourishment and applying a shine serum after styling. She also committed to reducing heat styling, allowing her hair to air dry more often. Just 2 months later, she came back for a trim and I barely recognized her hair. It was smooth, silky, and gleamed under the salon lights. She looked not only more stylish, but healthier and more confident. I had a similar turning point myself when I started prioritizing hydration over heat styling. I swapped my daily flat iron for a couple of low-heat blowouts each week and began using a leave-in conditioner regularly. The difference was immediate. My hair stopped breaking so easily, and people began asking if I had changed my cut, when in reality, all I had done was restore its health. So let me ask you, when was the last time you ran your fingers through your hair and felt it truly soft and silky? If it has been a while, maybe it is time to focus on care as much as cut. And once you see what healthy, shiny hair can do for your whole appearance, You might be inspired to explore other small changes that make an equally powerful difference. After 50, your hair should be more than just a style. It should be a reflection of your story, your strength, and the confidence you've earned over the years. It's not about looking younger. It's about looking like the very best version of yourself right now. Every strand has the power to frame not just your face, but the life you live and the energy you bring into a room. Sometimes, the most powerful transformations come from the smallest changes: a softer fringe, a warmer tone, a cut with more movement. Little shifts like these can brighten your features, lift your spirit, and make you feel renewed each time you catch your reflection. The mirror starts smiling back at you, and you realize that beauty has no expiration date. So I want to leave you with this thought. If your hair has been telling the same story for years, maybe it's time to let it tell a new one that celebrates who you are today. You deserve to feel radiant, modern, and comfortable in your own skin. Now, I would love to hear from you. What hairstyle are you wearing right now? And if you could try something completely new, no rules, no limits, what would it be? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's inspire each other to keep evolving, one beautiful change at a time.